Nope. Still don't have enough voice. I've got some beautiful lace though. Hi there. Welcome to episode 9 of Yawns and Yarns. This is a show where I talk about what I'm working on that's yarn related, as in fibers, and then I'll talk about yarns, as in stories. I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, with my husband, 2 boys, and our spoiled puppy. She is in desperate need of a haircut, but right now, I'm cooking a pot roast and the scent is driving her crazy. I had planned to have a separate episode about the recent books I'd read, but doing it with a computer voice, well, I didn't think anyone would be interested in watching that. There's nothing to show, and I don't have the voice to get my thoughts across effectively. And this, after all, is a show. However, I will talk about 1 or 2 of the physical books I read, because I sort of will have something to show. And I need to get them off my bookshelf. You tell me if it works. If you want to hear about the other books. I still have a very depleted voice despite following the reflux treatment. I still miss coffee. But I have an endoscopy next week to address the fact that the long-term effects of COVID is mimicking the symptoms I experience when I'm exposed to gluten. Hopefully they will find more answers about my vocal cords too. I have 2 FOs to show you. The first are my finished mittens. Technically, I'm supposed to attach cam snaps to them to keep the tops from flapping about. I'll attach them later. For now, they are wearable. I love the purple in this colorway. I lost the ball bands for this yarn somewhere during our move to Tulsa, but it was Lion brand in their Mani PD line. The colorway name is Boot. I used Chiagoose lace US size 1, 2.5mm needles. The next time I make these, I'm going to try them 2 at a time. The pattern is called Knock Knock Convertible Mitts. It is a paid-for pattern by Stacey Perry at Very Pink Knits, which I'll link below. I love how they turned out. If you remember from the last episode, I had made a top for the first mitten, the mitten that was bigger than the second. Stress made my knitting really tight. The top wasn't long enough for the smaller mitten. But instead of starting over on a new top, I frogged the ribbing and picked up the stitching to continue on. Looking back, I realize it would have been easier to thread the needle through the row underneath the ribbing and cut, like an afterthought heel. Oh well. You can see, here, where my tension changed, but I don't think it matters much. I still have this whole mitten left. I'll save it as a sort of sock blank for some scrappy knitting later. My next FO, I'm really excited about. It's an FO with a lot of firsts. It's my Ashton shawlette. This is my first finished lace project. My first time reading completely from a chart. My first time blocking my knitting. Look at that. This is a fabulous pattern for knitters new to lace and chart reading. It's a free pattern on Ravelry by Dee O'Keefe. It goes through chart reading step by step. Parts of it, I couldn't fully understand until I just got started. Once I got into it, I didn't want to stop. I pretty much knitted this exclusively till it was done. I made sure to use a lifeline, which I did need once. At one point though, I made myself tink back a couple of rows to where I missed a yarn over. I think focusing on tinking back correctly helped me to understand the structure of the lace knitting better. I have become a tink master. I do have a mistake though. Right here, I missed a yarn over, but it was at this edge, and didn't mess up the look of the pattern much. I was done for several days before I finally blocked it. I was afraid, because I didn't have proper supplies. I really wanted blocking wires and mats. I knew I could use cardboard and cotton yarn, but I was afraid to mess it up. Then I realized that if the blocking didn't come out right, I can always reblock it. So I took a deep breath and placed it in the soapy water. Then I stretched it out as best I could. It turned out fine anyway. Blocking really does a wonderful job of opening up the lace stitching. I entered it in a stocking stuffers, make along, hosted by Amy, from Happy Little Yarn, and Lisa, from Knit All the Yarn. I'll be sure to link to that below. The rules are, no whoops, and it has to be small enough to fit in a stocking. Fortunately, you don't have to gift it. I'm keeping this beauty. I used US size 5, 3.75mm needles. This time I got Chiaogoose twist. They are interchangeable needles. They worked perfectly, without becoming untwisted. I'm now addicted to Chiaogoose. I'll show you the cord later. My whip is on it right now. The yarn is indeed dyed, by Kerida, at Neighborhood Fiber Company. I made a point to order from her, to help support black-owned businesses. This is her rustic fingering base, and the colorway is called Logan Circle. Onto whips. Well, one whip anyway. Most of my knitting went to the shawlette and the mittens, but I did work a bit on my Riviette sweater. Not a lot. Here's the marker where you saw it last. I had missed a yarn over, but learned that because I was on the purl row, I'd be able to pick it up instead of tinking all the way back to it. As you can see, I picked it up in the wrong place. I didn't realize this until a few more rows were done. At least I had the right number of stitching again. This yarn is Lion Brand's True Boo. It's a rayon fiber made from bamboo. The colorway is called Mushroom. Because this fiber is so slippery, I started on bamboo circulars thinking that I needed the extra grip. But it started becoming like knitting cotton, and it was really difficult to slide the yarn across the needles. I was worried about switching to the Chiaogoose stainless steel part way through. What if it changed the tension? But I kept putting off knitting on this, because it hurt my hands to slide the stitching on the bamboo. So I switched anyway. It's much easier now using the Chiaogoose twist. And you can't even tell where I made the change. This is the cord I used for the Ashton shawlette. I got the 50-inch cord because an extra long cord doesn't bother me, and I'd rather have too much than not enough. For the Riviette, I'm using US size 4, 3.5mm needles. This is a free pattern on Ravelry by Rachel Brockman, which I'll link below. And that's pretty much it, for what I've been working on. But I do want to talk about 2 yarn shops. One, I forgot to mention last time. Before my COVID symptom relapse, we went to Canyon City, Colorado, for a mini vacation. I was still working on my sock head hat at the time, and was using bamboo circulars for it. I got hooked on Chiaogoose when I was knitting socks, so decided to stop off at a local yarn shop to pick up the right size for knitting the rest of my hat. Before I tell you the cute name of this shop, you should know that Canyon City has a prison museum. The name of the shop? Young and Dangerous. It really was a cute little place and I wanted to look around a while, but hubby and the boys were waiting on me. Canyon City is a great tourist place. If you ever find yourself there, definitely stop in Young and Dangerous. The other shop is here in Tulsa. It's called Loops. It's a beautiful boutique-style shop where I've been picking up my Chiaogoose interchangeable needles when I need them. I'm looking forward to the virus ending, so I can join some of the knitting events they will have there. They carry a line of yarn from Anzala called Milky Way. It's made from 80% milk protein and 20% superwash merino. How do you make yarn from milk? It reminds me of something funny William asked when he was about 4 or 5. How do you make bread juice from rocks? He never did find out how. I'm going to have to come up with a project for the Milky Way yarn and pick myself up some. Otherwise, I have no acquisitions to speak of, right now. But I have plans for a future knit. I'm hoping that the local Renaissance fair will pick me up to play harp for their festivals in May. But I don't have Renaissance hair. This picture is from back when I had enough hair to pull back and attach a false bun. I can't do that anymore. So I found this hooded mantle pattern on Ravelry. It's by Andy Moyne, and uses worsted weight yarn. So it looks like I can get more of this care and simply soft, and it will hopefully go nicely with my dress. I'd like to border it with repeating Celtic knotwork, probably in a gold color. And if they don't take me on as their harpist, it will still be fun to wear when I attend as a guest. I do have a gig coming up though. It's a VIP event at Dillard's in the first week of December. My first gig in almost a year. That's going to help. You've been pretty lonely with just me, haven't you, Timmins? So to books. I'm going to feature 2 today, so I can donate them somewhere and free up space on my shelves. Both are pretty intense, so I don't recommend reading them back to back. The first is J.K. Rowling's The Casual Vacancy. Do not take this read lightly. Her writing is so very real, and there are parts of this book that are quite painful to read. But as in the Harry Potter series, Rowling is a master at dissecting the human psyche. She weaves this elaborate tale of backstory throughout an enormous cast of characters. At first, it's difficult to keep track of everyone, but the characters have such unique traits that when she goes back to specific ones they are easily recalled. The story starts out with the death of Barry Fairbrother. His now empty seat on the town council begins a subtle war that exposes the sins, vices, and secrets of the families Fairbrother had touched. When everyone becomes self-absorbed with their role in the war, it is the innocent who suffer. Which brings me to the other book, The Bluest Eye, by Toni Morrison. Talk about the innocent suffering. Your heart breaks for these characters. Morrison's writing is poetic and painful. You follow a cast of characters surrounding P. Collar Breedlove, who is an 11-year-old black girl. All P. Collar wants is the bluest of eyes, so that she will be beautiful, like Shirley Temple. Her idea of beauty is defined by the society she finds herself in. She can't see her own beauty for its merits because society tells her she is ugly. Like The Casual Vacancy, the people surrounding P. Collar have become self-absorbed, and don't care to realize how their actions cause suffering for the innocent. Again, I highly recommend this one, but beware of its intensity. Hoo-hoo. Yep, computer speech definitely doesn't express the emotion I want to convey. Especially in this political climate, where we see self-absorption having a direct effect on the innocent. Please wear your mask. Is not a muzzle. It's a piece of cloth that can save lives. I'm going to get slightly political here, and if I lose followers, so what? It needs to be said. I'm not a Democrat. I used to be Republican. I left the party when we moved to Colorado, and I found out that I could still vote in primaries, even as unaffiliated. I'm pro-life, but I cannot see the GOP as pro-life anymore. It's as if there is a whole group of Peter Pan babies out there. They remain babies forever. We've saved the babies. They are now no longer our problem. Nothing else matters except how much money we can get for big businesses. That's not pro-life. That's self-absorbed people allowing the innocent to be trodden on and destroyed. And I'm thoroughly sick of lies. Why would I vote for someone I cannot trust? Getting off my soapbox now. I'm starting something that I hope is more lighthearted, for next time. Spinning Silver, by Naomi Novik. This one is a fantasy that I've had on my shelf for 2 years. I won it, at a NaNoWriMo event. I'm not doing NaNoWriMo this year. This year has been intense enough. I need to finish writing my historical fiction on the Great Depression. I've been saying that for too long. That pretty much sums everything up for me this episode. But I did want to share my new desk space. When we lived in Colorado, my desk was built into the house. So when we moved to Tulsa, I had to use a folding table for a while. Here's the before picture. I have 2 after pictures. This one is the tidy after picture. And this one is the one where Scout decided to redecorate my space with garbage the next day. Hubby thought we could take the garbage can off those 2 tubs and that she would leave the garbage alone. Scout thought otherwise. Anyway, I hope you are all well. I hope you get to create and read all the yummy things. Please remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you again soon. Bye.